Okay, welcome again. After doing that crazy bubble car, I thought I'd better go down to some really simple small objects. And instead of scripting them in, well, actually just making them in CAD, I thought it would be nice to make some really beautiful forms with all the subtleties in something like Grasshopper. So this is basically your corkscrew, and I'll show you how it's made. Let's jump over to this, maybe make this screen a little smaller. Pull it over here so we can see what's going on. And I'll go into shaded so we can see how I've actually made it. Thanks, Max, for making noise. Please be quiet. All right, so just set up the standard. And what we have here, I'll just move this over here. I don't think I'm going to need to go into it. These are small objects kind of inspired by the book Rhinoceros 5. So what I've done is I've gone in and I made a point. Pretty simple. You usually want to start with a point. And what I did was I put a circle on that point and turned it into a reparametrized curve, divided the circle, and called out one of the indexes. And in doing so, I then made a curve. And you're done the curve, and you got to start and stop to it. To get a curve and start and stop to that point. That's basically the drawing I saw. Everything's parametric, so I can multiply that. I can move that point over here, and I can move it in two. I don't need this 4 anymore, but I can move it in two directions. One, so I can adjust the length of that as I go. It's going to be slow if I move it. I probably shouldn't move anything, and I just did. I just moved it back to 2, but I think I wanted it 3. So I'll try not to play with this script too much as we go into it. Okay, so basically moving the point in 2 spots, then I explode the tree into 2 parts, and I have my line. It's kind of hard to see there, but there's a line there. So I have this curve, and I have this curve right now, which is cool. I want to get one more curve going, so I went in and I used the point to start and moved it over a little farther, and then with that sent that into moving it, actually making a point here. It made one point here at the end of it, I believe. It's not coming up, but I basically made another series of points here, and I'm just wondering why I'm not seeing the points. I've got to move them in a range. That's what I'm doing. Those are vectors, not points. So what I've done is I've moved one point over here to the end and one into a vector of a helix. So what you've got is you've got basically this curve, and this curve, which makes up all 3 parts of it. So that's just a little bit of math figuring it out. Now what I'm going to want to do is I want to find those beginning and end points to all of this. So I'm just going to take this ungroup off, and you can see that I can grab all those points that are essential for making this, and I can grab all these curves that are essential to making it. What I have to do between those curves is I have to blend a curve here, and I have to blend a curve here. So when you put all these points together, you got a really nice, I've got to select everything, otherwise it doesn't work. And there you go. You've got your nice line that brought into a merge tool. You can join that, and you got one nice curve. And it's been reparametrized. You're fine. You can put some planes on it. What I chose to do is put a plane on it at the beginning. So I could put a ball there, and I could do a sweep from there. If I put a sphere onto there, I could sweep that sphere all the way along those curves, right? Take that curve, and I want to go all the way to this parameter. Stop short at 0.9 parameter, evaluating the curve, all the way to this curve. So that I've got basically this curve to sweep. And if I sweep those, that's fine. I end up with that curve. But I end up with the whole thing. So I actually want to grab this tail end of it, which I did through another sweep, and I want to do a Boolean difference. So I just end up with that. So I've got the long curve, but I just want to end up with, I want to cut short the tip because I want to taper the tip. Put a ball at the end of the other side. So you've got this with the ball, and I actually just want the ball and this curve, and I don't want that one. So I want to cut it short. But I still have the line. I still have this section, as you watch this come in here. I still have this section of this brep at the end. Because I need the line, I actually need the line that's there. So I actually wanted to have the sweep. And so in doing the Boolean difference, I still have access to these curves. Going back to the whole curve, I basically grabbed a evaluate surface and threw planes on those last sections, like little points, but I also I made a plane normal to there. So I basically have all these little planes at the end that run through the same range that I could make progressively another range with the same amount of steps. And I guess I should probably put that in there so I'm not changing things too much. I haven't cleaned up the script. In the end, you clean up the script so you're left with very basics. Now I'm left with all these points that gradually get smaller on those planes. And that's kind of a nice tool because then you can just take a loft to it. Once you have a loft, you got your little tip. Take your tip, and you want to cap the end of that. You don't have to cap the end of it. You can leave it open. You're going to put that back on that other tool. So we've got the sphere at the beginning of it. You have everything but that little tip, and you use this data to make a little hook at the end of the tip. And then all I did in the end was just do a little weird do-si-do reorientation. So it'll sit in this position. That way, when I take it to a render mode, it'll sit up and kind of ghost on top. Actually, I won't do anything unless I bake it. And if I make the visibility and bake it, there you go. You're left with a really nice tool. And I did change it up a bit and push a couple of numbers, but that is a very nice parametric corkscrew that you can play with on many levels. I'll clean it up to the bare essentials. Might bring it into AR, Foldogram AR, and have a virtual tool there, and you can see kind of shaded all the parts that came into making that. Change the visibility, and there it is. Really nice. All the parts, but really in the end, all you really want is this thing oriented in that position. So like I said, very nice parametric model. If you change any of these numbers, they're going to take a little bit to shift because there's a slowdown on the script, I believe here, 2.1 seconds for that merge right there for the Boolean difference. And I guess there's a better way to do that. I'm not sure how I just jumbled everything up, but I sure did. So I just messed my script up a bit. I'll clean it up in a little while. Great little script. Lots of details. 6 minutes. Just a nice, easy bottle opener. My gosh, I've got to go back and see what I did wrong here. Let me go back to here and just go back on this level. There we go. That's the model script. That's it. And we'll just grab everything again, pop it into a group, make it a pleasant Wickerson Studio blue, and we are done this script, and there it is. Beautifully ready for rendering if you bake it. So let me just pull out the bake, and I'll just take this one off. We've got 2 overlapping there, so there it is. That's it. And if I wanted to throw on the metal, I could grab that and just put down assigned material, and it should be fine. There you go. And I kept these 2 separate here, so I thought it would be fun to let's grab another tip here and do plastic. Should be metal on there and plastic on that, but I guess I'll just set that up on plastic color, old bright red, going into a darker red, down like that. And then I can grab this ball, shift select the tip. Oops. I've got 2 poly surfaces there. I guess I baked twice. And we will just set that to assigned objects, and that should be it. Got a pretty cool little tiny, but I think I actually put some bumps on there. There's a little bump on the steel, which is kind of fun. And throw that in the turntable to appreciate your new product design that's completely changeable. Not going to be able to do anything while it's in rotation, but anyway, it's doing its little ballet for us. So thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to stay with some small objects for a while so I can really get my skills down on dealing with lines and evaluating curves, so I can make and getting into my blend curve tool, which I've never really used. I want to really solve curves well before I go any farther. I've done well on points in math and planes and vectors, but now it's time to get into the curve tools and find out all the things I can do prior to any plugins. Thanks for watching.